Hello students, we have completed the Rutherford model of atom in detail and we have understood the failures also of Rutherford model. Now we will understand the Bohr's atomic model. So there were some problems with the Rutherford model, that's why the modifications were needed that we need to discuss now. So the problems which were there with the Rutherford model, in that the electron can orbit around the nucleus in any orbit. Okay, in that the electron which is orbiting around the nucleus, there were no fixed orbits for the electron, and in that manner it was told that electron will lose energy while radiating and it will finally fall into the nucleus. So this was the problem, and because there were no fixed orbits told, so this Rutherford model could not explain the line spectra of hydrogen atom also. So in addition to the essential features of the Rutherford model, okay, essential features which were correct, Bohr introduced the concept of stationary orbits also. Okay, so let us list down what are the Bohr's postulates for the atomic model. So first postulate is picked from the Rutherford model only as it is. In the hydrogen atom, the negative electron revolve around the positive nucleus and the centripetal force required by the electron is provided by the electrostatic force of the nucleus. So this is the same point. It has been picked as it is from the Rutherford model, that electron has to circle around the nucleus. Okay, now in the second postulate, the Bohr introduced the concept of stationary orbits. So, the electron can revolve only in those orbits. So, you can see here the change is coming. The electron can revolve only in those orbits in which angular momentum of electron is integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. These orbits are called the stationary orbits. Okay, so the condition was this given, that the angular momentum of electron, that means MVR, angular momentum, it should be equal to integral, that means n, multiple of h upon 2 pi. So this condition MVR equal to nh upon 2 pi, it is called the Bohr's second postulate, and this is the postulate about the stationary orbits. Why do we call them stationary orbits? Because while revolving in these orbits, the electron will not lose energy. So MVR equal to nh upon 2 pi, this is the condition of the stationary orbit. And why we call them stationary orbit? Because in these orbits the electron will not lose energy. Okay, now what is the idea by which we can say that electron loses also the energy and gains also the energy? So energy transformation or releasing and absorbing, how does it take place? So for that the third postulate was given. So the energy is radiated, that means released, if the electron jumps from higher to lower energy level, and absorbed if it jumps from lower to higher energy level. Okay, we can understand it again from the energy levels now. Suppose this is first energy level, this is second energy level. In the center the nucleus is there. Okay, so always the energies of the, by calculation we will prove now, the energies of these orbits which are closer, okay, here the energy of the electron is least, minimum. Okay, so this is level number 1 and this is level number 2. So this is called higher energy level and this is called the lower energy level. Okay, so suppose the energy is here 3.4 and here the energy is suppose 13.6. These are the energies calculated for the hydrogen atom. Okay, so out of minus 13.6 and out of minus 3.4, okay, out of these two energies, which energy is greater? That is minus 3.4. Okay, so now let us come to this point. When means the energy is radiated, radiated means released, when the electron jumps from higher to lower energy level. That means from minus 3.4 to minus 13.6 level, that means from 2 level to 1 level, when the electron jumps, so it needs to release some energy. Okay, so how much energy it is releasing, that is called h nu, and that is equal to the difference of the two energy levels. So h nu equal to E2 minus E1. Okay, so this way the energy is released. And in the same manner, if the electron comes from lower to higher energy level, lower to higher, then the energy is absorbed. Let us come to all this detailing with calculations in the next sheet. So note down the postulates of Bohr. So these are the postulates or suggestion for the Bohr's atomic model. Now we will be doing the calculations based on the Bohr's proposed model for hydrogen. Okay, so Bohr discussed only the hydrogen atom or hydrogen-like atoms. So let us understand the calculations. So here is the diagram of the hydrogen atom. Hydrogen atom consists of one proton in the nucleus. Charged particle is one proton, and outside also the charged particle is one electron only. The distance between electron and nucleus is r, that means the radius of the orbit is r. Now this electron is getting attracted towards the nucleus by electrostatic force, but this electrostatic force is completely spent in giving centripetal force to the electron. So our first equation, which will help us in calculations, that is Fe equal to Fc. Okay, now Fe means K, that means 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 Q Q1 Q2 upon R square. Q1 means nucleus charge and Q2 means electron charge. So E upon R square will come for hydrogen atom. Now Fc means half of mv square by R will come. mv square by R. This is the centripetal force formula. Now you can notice that here one R is getting cancelled. So if we cancel one R, finally we will get mv square equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 E square by R. This we will name as our equation number 1. Now the second equation, which is extra here. Okay, in Rutherford model only this equation was there and all the calculations were done of energy of electron with only this single equation. Now in Bohr's model we have one extra equation, that is the stationary orbit equation, the second postulate. So MBR equal to NH upon 2 pi. This is our second equation. Okay. Now we have to solve with the help of these two equations. We have to first solve velocity and radius. You can notice that other than velocity and radius, okay, velocity and radius, all the other things are constants. M is mass of electron, constant. 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 constant, and E means charge of electron, constant. So only V and R two terms are there which are missing. In the same manner here also V and R are new terms, unknown terms. Other than every other thing is constant. So N is the orbit number. Okay. Now from this first equation and second equation, how to rearrange. Okay. So this first equation, let us take R here only. So it will become mv square R. Okay. This first equation. mv square R, only R we have given this side, cross multiplied. So mv square R is equal to E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0. This is first equation. And the second equation directly, mvr equal to nh upon 2 pi. Let us divide the first and second equation. Dividing equation 1 by 2, you can see mvr and here mv square R. So all the things will get cancelled, only one V will be left. So this is that V, velocity, and here also you divide the terms. So you can see pi is getting cancelled and this 2 is also getting cancelled. So E square upon 2 epsilon 0 will be left and 1 upon NH will be left. So V velocity formula we are getting directly easily. You can see very easily we have got the velocity answer just by dividing. Okay, so here M, R, V are cancelled. Only one V is left. So this is the formula of the velocity. Now let us move to that how to get the radius answer. Let us write this, that this is the velocity of electron in any orbit. So we have to always give the relation in terms of orbit number. So you can see velocity is inversely proportional to orbit number. That means as the number increases, that means first orbit, second orbit, third orbit, as this orbit number increases, velocity there decreases. So electron which is in the minimum orbit, that has the largest velocity. Okay? Electron in the first orbit has the largest velocity. Okay? Because first orbit means n is minimum, so velocity is largest. After that, the orbit number will keep on increasing. Number 1, number 2, number 3, like that. Okay, now let us focus on the radius calculation. As I have told you that there are two unknowns, V and R. So we have to calculate now radius part. So this equation is easier. Equation second. Now in this equation number second, first of all I am writing here calculation of radius. So in equation number second, let us keep only R here. R will remain here only, mv will come down. So nh upon 2 pi mv. Now nh 2 pi m. And V formula we have to substitute, which we have prepared here. So V formula I am putting here. So it will become this. Now we have to just rearrange it. So you can see 2 and 2 is getting cancelled. NH are 2 times. So N square H square epsilon 0 single upon 2 cancelled already. So pi me square. Okay. So we can cancel these two terms. So this way the radius answer has come. This is the radius answer. Okay. We can put it in box. So radius formula you can notice h square is constant, epsilon 0 is constant, pi constant, m constant, e square constant. Only the number of the orbit may change. So radius is proportional to n square now. So radius is proportional to n square. That means if we want to write down the radius ratio of different orbits, first orbit, second orbit, third orbit. So radius 1 is proportional to 1 square. Radius 2 is proportional to 2 square. Radius 3 is proportional to 3 square. You can see by this formula. That means what is the ratio? 1:4:9. We can make some more radiuses ratio. Radii ratio. Okay. And radius of the first orbit is called the Bohr's radius. So if we have to make the formula for the Bohr's radius, we have to put n equal to 1. Okay. So this is a special case. Radius of first orbit is called the Bohr's radius. Bohr's radius, radius of first orbit. So n equal to 1 if we put here, it will be r1. Okay. So h square epsilon 0 upon pi me square. You can see all these things are constant. So if we solve, the answer is coming 0.529 angstrom. Angstrom means 10 raised to power minus 10. Okay. 10 raised to power minus 10. And this we also denote by the symbol A0. Bohr's radius means A0. Okay. We have calculated two terms, velocity and radius. Now energy is left. Let us move to energy calculation. Note down all this. The third calculation is energy formula. Okay. We will be needing the velocity formula. So we have written it here. We have already derived it. Now, when the electron is revolving around the nucleus, first of all it is moving, so it is having kinetic energy. Okay, kinetic energy. And secondly, because it is maintaining the position with respect to the nucleus, that's why this electron is having potential energy also. So Ke plus P will give us the total energy. Okay, so let us solve the total energy with the help of kinetic and potential energy. Kinetic energy formula of the electron is half of mv square. Now potential energy. Potential energy formula between two charges is K Q1 Q2 upon R. So K means 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0, Q1 Q2. upon R. So here charge sign is also needed. So plus E nucleus and minus E is the electron. That's why minus sign will come here. Okay. After that, now here this velocity we can substitute. For solving here velocity we have to substitute, but in terms of R only. So this formula will not help us. We can take our equation number 1. Okay, I'll remind you it was which equation. mv square by R we equated with the electric force. Very first equation of Bohr's calculation. Okay, so centripetal force equal to electrostatic force. This was the equation and this R was cancelled. This was our equation number 1. So I am substituting mv square from this equation here. Okay, so half as it is. Now mv square. So mv square we already got. It is equal to E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0 R. This way we have to substitute. And here 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 E square by R is already there. So E square upon 4 pi epsilon 0 R is common. In the bracket half minus 1. Half minus 1 is minus half. And this common term is as it is. Okay. Now total energy has come in terms of radius. So do we have the radius formula with us? So let us take out from the previous sheet the radius formula. So n square h square epsilon 0 upon pi me square. This is the radius formula. We will put it here so that our finally formula of total energy is prepared. So let us prepare now. So E square upon 2 4 pi epsilon 0. This all as it is. Radius we have to put. So let us put radius n square h square epsilon 0 upon pi me square. Let's see what is getting cancelled. So 1 pi is getting cancelled. Okay, so m e power 4 minus sign 2 into 4 is 8. Pi is already cancelled. So n square h square epsilon 0 square. This is the formula of the final energy. This energy is calculated for hydrogen atom, for which the Z atomic number is 1. So if we generalize the formula for any other atom, then one Z term will also be coming in the numerator. This is the total energy formula for hydrogen atom, and if we introduce Z square also in the numerator, then this is the energy formula for any other atom. Okay, so this way the energy formulas are generalized. Now again the relation. So you can see m e power 4 8 h square epsilon 0 square, all these are constant except this n square which is orbit number. So here we can write that the energy is inversely proportional to n square. Okay, energy is inversely proportional to n square. So let us calculate the energies for different orbits in the next sheet. Note down. Okay, now the energy of any nth orbit, means energy of electron in nth orbit, is given by minus me4 upon 8 n square h square epsilon 0 square. Okay, this is easy to remember, this formula. Now again in terms of orbit number, if we say, so orbit number n square is coming in denominator, so En is proportional to 1 upon n square. So this is called energy quantization. That energy is always in terms of fixed quantity. Now what is that quantity? You see now, if we substitute all the constants, okay, except n square, if we substitute all the constants and in electron volt if we calculate the energy, so it comes minus 13.6 electron volt and n square is separate. Okay, so minus 13.6 electron volt upon n square. So you can see if I have substituted all the values, that energy it will come in joule, then it is converted in electron volt. So this term comes minus 13.6 electron volt. So let us substitute the energies for one by one all the levels. So energy of first orbit, okay, when the electron is in the first orbit, then its energy should be minus 13.6 upon 1 square, that means minus 13.6 eV. If the electron is in the second orbit, then its energy should be 13.6 upon 2 square. It gives you the value minus 3.4. If the energy of the third orbit we calculate, so 13.6 upon 3 square. So 13.6 upon 3 square means 9. It will be coming around minus 1.1. Energy of the fourth orbit, you have to remember all these values. Okay. So 0.85 eV comes. If energy of fifth orbit we want, so everywhere we are dividing by 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, 4 square, 5 square, that means the orbit number. This value comes around 0.54 eV. Okay, now you see all the energies are negative. So just think that are they increasing energies or they are decreasing energies. So the energy or the order of the energy is increasing. Okay, increasing order. This is increasing order. That means the energy of the electron in the first orbit is minimum. Okay, here the energy is minimum, or we call it lowest energy level. Okay, this is called the lowest energy level, and after that the energy increases. And stability is also related with the energy. Here the electron is most stable because it has minimum energy. Then as it goes to higher energy side, that means it becomes little unstable. Okay, so these are the energy levels, and this is called energy quantization. Okay, now with the help of Bohr's first and second postulate, okay, that means mv square by r equation and mvr equation, we have calculated three terms: radius, velocity and energy. Radius, velocity, energy. And now with the help of the third postulate of Bohr's, we will calculate the spectral line. Okay, wavelengths. So let us start that. Note down. Okay, now spectral line and spectral series of H atom. Okay, spectral line. What is the meaning? So the Bohr's third postulate gave us the idea that when the electron jumps from some higher energy level to lower energy level. Okay, suppose this is initial level EI and this is final energy level EF. So if it has to come from EI level to EF level, so the difference of the two energies, EI minus EF, it will release in form of H nu. Some energy will be released. And what will be that energy? This energy is difference of the two energy levels. Okay. So EI minus EF equal to H nu is the Bohr's third postulate, and this H nu radiation which is released, this radiation is called the spectral line. Okay, so we will be getting a number of spectral lines because levels are so many. So let us understand the spectral line formula. Then we will move to the spectral series. Series means group of all such lines. Okay, so we have some standard series for hydrogen atom that we are coming to. So let us calculate now. EI minus EF equal to H nu. So we have to calculate the wavelength. Okay, that how much wavelength is generated from each spectral line. So till wavelength we have to do this part. So how to do? We need the energy formula first, which we have derived in the last sheet. So we will substitute here the energies. H nu equal to EI minus EF. EI means the atomic number of initial level we are calling Ni, and the orbit number of final level we are calling NF. So once we have to put here Ni and then we have to put here NF. So let us make EI formula from here. So minus Me4 8 epsilon 0 square H square Ni square. Then minus sign EF. EF is also minus Me4 8 epsilon 0 square NF square H square. Okay, now let us take common. So you can see other than Ni and NF, everything is same. So Me4 8 epsilon 0 square H square is common. Now this has become positive, minus minus plus. So first of all NF square will come and then here Ni square will come. Okay, this formula we have 8 epsilon 0 square h square is taken common, only NF square is remaining. Now this side we want it in terms of wavelength. So h nu we can write as c by lambda. So now here only we have to get lambda term. So 1 by lambda, let it remain here only, take hc down. So me4 upon 8 c epsilon 0 square h cube it will become, because h and c are coming here. So h and h square is h cube and c is also coming down. And finally in the bracket nf square minus ni square is remaining. Now this formula is almost final. Only this constant which is appearing called Rydberg constant. Okay, so if I completely call it RH, Rydberg constant, then the formula will become little easier. So this formula we have to derive if spectral line is asked. And what about the Rydberg constant? I'll write here. You can see all are constants. Okay, this complete number is called Rydberg constant. So let us write the value of the Rydberg constant. What is its value? So first of all, its value is 1.09 into 10 raised to power 7 meter inverse. Okay, so there are so many, there are other digits also, but let us approximate it to 1.09 into 10 raised to power 7 meter inverse. Okay. So this way the Rydberg constant spelling, and this is the value. So in numericals it will be easy for you if NF and Ni are given, that between which two energy levels the jumping is taking place, and spectral line wavelength is asked. So RH is a constant. You can use this constant as it is. Okay, so this is the idea of derivation of spectral line. Now let us move to spectral series. So note down. Okay, now spectral series formula. So for the transition of electron between two energy levels, okay, spectral lines of different wavelengths are obtained. These spectral lines are categorized in different spectral series. So we will get a group of this spectral lines that we will call spectral series. So for hydrogen atom, okay, let us study this line spectra. So how many series are there? So first of all Lyman series is there. Okay, then second is Balmer series. Then third is Lyman-Balmer Paschen bracket fund. Okay. So 5 series are there of the hydrogen atom. Now line spectra means the spectral series are obtained. So what is the meaning of each series? So Lyman series means if the electron jumps to one level from any higher level. So that means the final level should be 1. Initial level can be any. That means 2, 3, 4 like that. So if this lambda formula I write for Lyman series. So here one thing is fixed, that is NF. So 1 upon 1 square minus Ni square. So this formula I have written here just for making NF and Ni values here. So I think you have understood. Lyman series is that series in which the electron jumps to one level from higher levels. In the same manner, Balmer series is what? In which the electron jumps to two level from higher levels. 3, 4, 5, etc. So here what will be the lambda formula? So RH. Now NF is fixed here. NF is 2. And Ni can be 3, 4, 5, etc. In the same manner, Paschen series is the one in which electron jumps to 3 level. Electron is jumping to 3 level from higher levels. So higher level could be 4, 5, 6, etc. So if I write the lambda formula for Paschen series, so NF is fixed now, it is 3. So 3 square, 1 upon 3 square minus Ni square. In the same manner, bracket and fund, if the electron jumps to fourth level from higher levels, that means 5, 6, 7, etc., then we get the bracket series. So what are the formulas of all that wavelengths? So NF has been fixed. Okay, so all these are NFs that has been fixed. Here NF is 4 and NI is varying. NI can be 5 also, 6 also, like that. Now fund series. Fund series is the one in which electron jumps to fifth level from any higher level. So it can be 6, 7, 8, etc. So what is the 1 upon lambda formula here? It is RH 1 upon NF. NF की जगह लिखना है 5. So 5 square minus Ni square. So these are the formulas for different series. Now let us make a diagram so that we understand all these series. So note down the formulas first, move to the diagram. Now let us draw the line spectra of hydrogen atom, or if it is asked, draw energy level diagram for hydrogen. So how you have to draw? So first of all we will show all the energy levels. Okay, so n equal to 1 level, it is of what value? Minus 13.6 electron volt. Then n equal to 2 second orbit, its energy is minus 3.4 electron volt. Then n equal to 3, its energy is minus 1.51 electron volt. These already we have discussed. Now n equal to 4, 0.85, n equal to 5, 0.54. So this way the electrons energies in different levels have been shown. Okay, so you can see that because these are negative energies, so here somewhere 0 is there, 0, then minus 0.3, minus 0.5, minus 0.85, minus 1.51, minus 3.4, minus 13.6, all are shown according to the scale. So here the gap you can notice 13.6 और 3 में around 10 का gap है, इसलिए यहाँ gap बहुत बड़ा दिखेगा. Then 1.5 और 3 में almost 1.5 का gap होगा. So यहाँ 10 का gap है, यहाँ सिर्फ 1.5 का gap है. That means we have to show it properly, that here the gap we have to also show big and here the gap should be small. As we proceed, the gap between the energy levels should decrease. Okay, now let us draw all the spectrum, that means spectral series. So first of all, Lyman series. Lyman series is the one in which electron jumps to one level. Now it can jump from 2 to 1 or 3 to 1 or 4 to 1, like that. So all these jumpings that are categorized as Lyman series. So 2 to 1 jumping or 3 to 1 jumping or 4 to 1 or 5 to 1 or 6 to 1. So all this, each of this line is called spectral line and the group of these lines is called spectral series. So this is Lyman series. Lyman series is the one in which final orbit number is 1. And in what band the energy is released? So that is ultraviolet band. Okay, the energy released here in UV band. That means the wavelength which correspond to that is UV band. Balmer series is the one in which electron jumps to 2 level. So we have to show 3 to 2 jumping or 4 to 2 jumping, like that. So jumping should be shown on the number 2 level. It can be from 3 to 2, 4 to 2, 5 to 2, 6 to 2, like that. This is called Balmer series. So all these spectral lines belong to Balmer series. And what band energy is radiated from here? That is visible band. Now in the same manner we can draw other spectral series. So you can see Paschen series is the one in which electron jumps to 3 level from higher levels. Bracket is the one in which electron jumps to 4 level from higher. Fund series is the one in which electron jumps to 5th level from higher. So now what are the energy bands which are generated? That are infrared, far infrared. Okay, so UV, visible, infrared, far infrared. These bands you have to remember. Okay, so this is the diagram of energy level diagram of hydrogen or line spectra diagram. to here understand now two types of energies and potentials. So excitation energy and ionization energy. What is the difference? So excitation energy means wherever the electron is, that means in the ground state, to excite it to some higher level. Okay, so energy required for the electron to raise from ground energy to some higher level. Okay, like hydrogen atom we will discuss. Hydrogen atom. In the hydrogen atom, the electron is in the first state. This is called its ground state. Okay, now what is the first excitation energy for this electron? First excitation means raising it to second level. So how much energy we will have to give to it? Okay, so that is E2 minus E1 formula. Now values we already know for hydrogen. E1 means minus 13.6, E2 means minus 3.4. We have to subtract the two. So answer will come 10.2 EV. Okay, so first excitation energy means E2 minus E1. And 10.2 EV, this is the energy, first excitation energy. Now if first excitation potential is asked, so only remove E from here. So 10.2 volt is first excitation potential. Okay, now second excitation. Second excitation means what? This electron which was in orbit number 1 to excite it to third level. This is called the second excitation of electron of the hydrogen atom. So E3 minus E1 is called second excitation. We can put the values here. So E3 is minus 1.1, E1 is 13.6. The difference of these two, it will come around 12.09 EV. So this is the meaning of excitation. कि इलेक्ट्रॉन कहाँ है और कहाँ जा रहा है, उनका difference. That we call excitation. Okay. Now ionization energy concept. What is that? So ionization energy concept. Energy required to knock the electron out of atom. That means it's like excitation only. Electron was there in one orbit. Now knocking it out means to shift it to infinite level. Okay, so we read the energy difference of now E infinite minus E1. So E infinite minus E1 is the formula. Now what is E infinite? 0. What is E1? Minus 13.6. So how much energy is required to knock this electron out of the atom? अगर इलेक्ट्रॉन को बाहर निकालना है तो कितनी एनर्जी चाहिए? दैट इज कॉल्ड आयनाइजेशन एनर्जी. सो हाइड्रोजन के इस इलेक्ट्रॉन को कितनी एनर्जी चाहिए? 13.6 EV. ओके, व्हाट इज आयनाइजेशन पोटेंशियल? सो जस्ट हाइड दिस E. So 13.6 volt is ionization potential. Note down. Now we are moving to last term related to Bohr's model. Now the second postulate, Bohr's second postulate, that is MV are equal to NH upon 2 pi. Now what is the proof that from where this equation has come, MV are equal to NH upon 2 pi? So de Broglie answered it based on his wave concept. Okay, so de Broglie's explanation to Bohr's second postulate will understand here. Idea is this, that we are saying that the electron, this is nucleus, electron, this electron is a moving electron around the nucleus. Now de Broglie, in our dual nature chapter, we understood that de Broglie suggested that each moving particle behaves like a wave. So this electron is also moving, so that means a wave should be associated with the electron. Okay, the wave should be associated. So that means when the electron will move around the nucleus, that means it is moving in form of a wave. So how many, means if this orbit is to be stable, that means full number of waves should be there. That means if it is first complete wave, second complete wave, third complete wave, fourth complete wave, fifth complete wave and sixth complete wave. This way complete number of or full number of waves should be present in this orbit if this is to be the stable orbit. That means each wave's length is 1 lambda. So another wave's length will be 1 more lambda. So if this way there are n such number of waves, So n lambda is the whole circumference. Okay, the length of whole circumference is n lambda, but circumference formula is 2 pi rn. If the radius of this orbit is rn, so 2 pi r should be equal to n lambda. Now let us put the de Broglie formula of lambda, de Broglie wavelength, that is h upon mv. And if we shift mv this side and 2 pi this side, so we have got the answer. So this is the proof. Write this explanation. Each moving particle has a wave associated with it, and if this is a stationary orbit, then only integral number of waves should fit in the circumference. So integral number of waves n lambda should be equal to circumference 2 pi rn, and then you can write these 3 steps. So this is the proof of Bohr's second postulate. Okay, so this way our Bohr's theory of hydrogen atom is completed.